Namaskar, and heartiest congratulations to the Department of Philosophy along with Teaching Learning Center of Ramanujan College for organizing this 1 week online faculty development program. I am really grateful to the team and especially to Zeronisha ma'am for inviting me to this particular FTP program. And it's been really conducted on a very apt topic, which is research methodologies in higher education, especially talking about the methodologies we use in our teaching and research as well. Now, I believe that the participants who are attending this program are all coming from academic background. So we all have great insights into research philosophies already. But yes, definitely, I think the resource persons who are coming from different fields will be giving you more fruitful insights into the research philosophies. As I was told, it is an interdisciplinary program, and therefore, being a geographer, I have tried to discuss certain basic things about research methodology and what kind of tools and techniques we're using in geography. And I have tried to prepare my lecture in a way that we can, just not going into much detail, but yet we can just brush up our research methodology techniques quickly, and then I can show you certain case studies that how being a geographer we are using different methodologies and techniques and tools in our geographic investigations. So with these words, I think once again I congratulate the team and I welcome all the participants to this program. And I'll be moving to the first part of my lecture, and that is I'll be giving you an insight into the or basically an introduction into the research methodology we use in geographic investigations. Thank you. So we are now moving to the presentation part. So let us now start with the lecture. And I am Dr. Amrita Bajaj. I am currently the faculty at Shahid Bhagat Singh College, University of Delhi. Now, as I've already told you that in this part, we'll be discussing briefly about the research methodology we use while conducting our geographical investigations. And in the second part, I'll be discussing about the case studies where I'll show you the practical applications of the methodology we use while conducting our research studies. Now, this is the structure of my lecture. First of all, I'll be giving a brief introduction of what exactly research is. Then we'll be talking about different research methodologies, the qualitative and the quantitative data, geographical tools and the techniques, and finally, as I've just mentioned earlier also, we'll be discussing certain case studies. Now, when we scan through internet and we look at different dictionaries, we look at different books, then we tend to understand that a lot of information is available on what is research. But somewhere, if you closely see, then most of these material are indicating the following facts about research. That research is a careful or diligent search we are making to understand a concept. It is an inquiry or an examination, especially investigation or experimentation, which is aimed at the discovery and interpretation of facts. We are trying to revise the accepted theories or laws in the light of new facts, or practical application of the new or the revised theories or laws which we are making. So this is what is research, and this is in accordance with the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Some people believe that research is a movement from the known to the unknown. Research, they believe, is a pursuit of truth which is understood with the help of making study, observations, comparisons, and experiment. We are searching knowledge when we are doing research through some objective and systematic methods, and these methods are basically employed to find solutions to a problem. We are also making systematized efforts to gain knowledge is one perspective of what research is all about, according to Redman and Maury. According to William Emory, any organized inquiry which is designed and carried out to provide information for solving a problem, again, is called as research. And scientific investigations we conduct in and the study of material, sources, etc., which is there to establish certain facts and to reach certain new conclusions, is also described as research. So closely, if you look at all these statements, the definition given in the dictionary, the statements made by different people, different eminent scholars, one thing which is very clear out of all these statements is that research, number one, is a multidimensional activity. And basically this multidimensional activity focus or comprise of the following things. It is an inquiry or an investigations we are making in a particular aspect. Research is logical in nature. It has to be objective, and a systematic framework needs to be built in order to understand the research. Every research has a very scientific outlook, and these outlooks, when we are preparing or when we are having these outlooks are built and are directed towards getting some possible solutions out of the research exercise we are doing. We also deals with generalization of theory and principles while we are conducting our research. We make sure that all the inquiry or investigations which we are doing are empirically analyzed, and simply it is not merely a collection of facts. So I think all of you goes by what I'm saying is that research is a compilation of all these things, and a good research definitely, therefore on the basis of these factors I would say that a good research definitely should have the following characteristics. Number one, a research should be logical. Now you cannot have a very illogical topic. Okay, I want to understand that why this person is behaving in this manner. Okay, even if you're trying to understand that this person is behaving in this manner, then you have to apply certain logic in order to understand his behavior, whether it changes with the situation, or it is inherent, or it is genetic, or whatever it is. I'm just giving you a basic example, but then we have to understand that important characteristics is that it should be logical. Then while we are conducting our research, we make sure that it should be accurate. Then only you can call it as a perfect research. Then we have to be impartial. Now in many of the social sciences field, it has been clearly seen, and especially when we are dealing with genders, when we are dealing with maybe community we are dealing with, and many of the people I know are doing research on communal riots and different kind of aspects. So in these we have seen that people do tend to use a lot of their personal biasness, prejudices, and their own opinions. Now these are not good for a researcher, because ultimately they are not leading to any kind of impartial research. And like I'm saying, a best characteristics, a best research would be which is free from all these impartiality. Then you have to have an empirical strength given to your research. Without that, getting an accuracy or verifiable or objectivity or a systematic framework in your research is very difficult. Therefore we have to empirically analyze, we have to verify the facts. Research should be made as objective as possible, and it should be within a systematic framework. And I think if all these are being there, then definitely we can look out for some solution oriented concrete results out of our research. Because definitely when we are doing our research, the main crux behind that research is that how we are able to get concrete solutions to certain problems, and that can be done provided we develop a systematic framework for doing our research, and it should have following important the above mentioned important characteristics. Because every research has to have certain solutions. If solutions are not coming out of it, then definitely there is problem somewhere, and we need to revisit and reinvent those problems in order to get some solutions out of our research. So looking into these characteristics, we can now understand what is the main objective of the research. So objective of a research is that we have to innovate a new idea. And while we are innovating a new idea, while we are understanding a new idea, while we are looking into a new idea, we have to understand it by understanding the cause and effect relationship. As I've already given an example, that suppose we are trying to understand the behavior of a person, then we have to make sure that we have to apply certain logic that why the person is behaving in a particular manner, and what is the result, what is the consequent result of his behavior. So we have to understand the cause and effect relationships. Now every research definitely has a motivation. And without motivation, we cannot undertake good research. But before we understand the motivation, we also have to see that why we do research. What is the purpose of doing research? We have understood what is research. We have understood that what are the major points highlighting what a research is. We have understood that how a particular research should contain following characteristics to be a good research. What is the objective of doing research? But again, we can see that there are 4 to 5 important points, leading to or fulfilling the objectives of our research. Firstly, the main objective of doing research is that we want to gain familiarity with a phenomena or to achieve a new insight into it. So many a times we call them as exploratory research or a formulative research study. So you try to, for example, if I want to understand that why disasters are striking in a particular area, so my main aim is to achieve new insights into the disasters, especially with respect to that particular area. So I'm making an exploration into that study, making formulative research studies. Secondly, we can also try to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual or maybe a situations or a group, and in this way we call it as a descriptive research studies. Because why descriptive? Because we are portraying the characteristics, especially of individuals or situations or groups. So we are trying to describe it, and therefore it is descriptive research studies. Then we want to determine the frequency with which something is occurring, its magnitude, and when we are doing with this objective, then definitely we are looking into more diagnostic kind of research. Why? Because we are determining something, we're determining the frequency. So diagnostic would be when we all go for medical diagnosis, and through that they understand that what is our problem, with what frequency the problem is becoming grave, and after that only a definite solution is suggested to us. So that is a more diagnostic kind of research. And then another major objective of doing a research could be when we are trying to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between the variables. So this is a hypothesis testing kind of research. So these are the main 4 objectives of research, and resulting into a particular kind of research study. It could be exploratory, as I've already mentioned, descriptive, it could be diagnostic, or it could be hypothesis testing research study. But any study you take, any research study you take, definitely there is some motivation behind it, as I've already mentioned. Without a strong motivation, it is very difficult to get some good result out of our research. Now, what could be these motivations? Maybe, I'm doing it just because I have a desire to get a research degree along with some consequential benefits. For example, many of you you are applying somewhere, and for you doing PhD is a eligibility. So you are taking that research degree, or you are gaining that research degree because there are some benefits out of it. Now similarly, people are doing this FTP because there's a ultimate benefit that it is meeting your eligibility criteria for the promotion. Therefore we all are gaining this certificate of FTP. Then maybe some people have a great desire to face the challenges in their life. They want to solve the unsolved problems, and they have some practical problems for which they want to initiate research. That could be one motivation. Some people, they have a desire for intellectual joy when they do some creative work. Again, that could be the motivation. Some people are doing, for example, if there's a problem somewhere, like there's a water quality issue in an area, so the person is doing it because it is he has a desire to solve this problem for the betterment of the society. So that could be one motivation. And ultimately, like suppose it is you get great respectability when you say that you are a PhD holder, you are a doctor, you put it in front of your name, so you get a respectability, you get a that elite outlook out of it. So there could be different motivation in research, but yes, definitely some motivation is required. Unless and until that is there, then you cannot undertake a good research study. And if it is not a good research study, then definitely it is not solution oriented. Then based on the discussions we had till now, we can see that there are different types of research. So we can have a descriptive research versus analytical research. Now descriptive basically means we want to describe what is, right? So we are collecting, recording things, describing, analyzing the facts, their existing status, trend, state of affairs of a phenomena. But when we are going to analytical, then it is not at all a description. It deals with what will be. So what is means present, existing status. No, it deals with what will be the future. So therefore, for this kind of research, variables involved will be carefully and scientifically analyzed, controlled and manipulated, and it will be more of a like a experimental research where some sophisticated techniques needs to be applied to do a particular kind of research. So that is descriptive versus analytical. Similarly, we have applied versus fundamental research. So as the name suggests, applied would be more of application based. It is more of action oriented or a solution oriented kind of research, and the main goal of going for it is to applied research is to obtain an immediate, specific and practical solutions to a problem which we are facing right now. Fundamental research is carried out basically in a very scientific manner to enhance the organized body of knowledge of a discipline has. So it is also known as basic research. So we are concerned more with formulation of theory and generalizations of principle, as we have already discussed, is the when we are talking about the major conclusions of what a research is all about. So over there we said that we tend to generalize theory and principle. So this is the part of your fundamental research. We evaluate and we expand our formulated theory using different empirical data. Then we can come to quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data, of course, as you can understand, by the word here, some sort of measurement in appropriate unit is possible. So we'll have object and individuals that vary in size, quantity, amount, scale, degree, etc., etc., and you can quantify it for your purpose, right? So you can quantify the variables. But in terms of qualitative research, it is very difficult to quantify, and here you'll have quality variables. For example, you cannot measure them with the help of a scale or any unit, right? But you have to understand them with the help of some qualitative aspects, like you are understanding human behavior. So definitely it is not possible to do it in a with the help of a quantitative study. You can only do it with the help of some qualitative aspects. So therefore that will be your qualitative research. Similarly, you'll have conceptual and empirical research. Conceptual research will be developing new kind of theories, abstract ideas, and generalization of principles will be there. So philosophers, intellectuals, they basically carry out this kind of research. In empirical research, it is based more on observation and experiment, and it was also mentioned as an important characteristics of researchers that it should be empirical. That means when we are doing a research, we should use our observations and we use experimentations in order to do that research. So the information you are collecting basically is in the form of facts, and you develop conclusions and theories about the phenomena, right? So it's again empirical research is becoming a powerful tool nowadays, and it's the most popular kind of research, especially in the modern world. Then besides this, you can have n number of research. For example, you can have historical research when you are studying the past events. You are trying to analyze the historical documents, remains and relics. Then you can have clinical research and diagnostic, as I've already mentioned over there, that we are diagnosing a problem, we are trying to understand its frequency. And clinical research where we are studying the effect of a new drug. For example, when we are trying to establish a new vaccine, like right now we all are developing, last year we were in a phase that trials of new vaccines were going on. So that more for clinical research. Then you can have a market research performed to forecast the potential demand of your project. You can have a one-time research which is carried out on a small scale for a short period with a specific purpose in mind. We also do educational research, which is directed towards the study and development of our educational system. Social research when we are concerned with the social problems of the society. Field research when we go out in the field or in the market. Laboratory research when we are our research is carried out within the four walls of laboratory. So you can have n number of researches. You can also have longitudinal research where the research is carried on over several time periods, right? So sometimes you have research that for a longer period of time you have to analyze the data. So these will be the longitudinal research. Then you can have conclusion oriented research. These are directed towards, you know, getting some sort of prominent conclusions and decisions out of a research. So this so you know, every kind of or every type of research you will use will depend upon your purpose. What is the purpose of doing a particular work, and according to that you will choose the kind of research type of research you want to go for. As I mentioned, if you are, you know, running trials of vaccines, and definitely clinical would be more better. If we are analyzing historical data, then historical research would be more better. If we are going to the field and making observations and experimentation, then definitely empirical setup would be more important. Now, but basically when you see the research approach, then mainly quantitative and qualitative approach is used in different kind of studies and different kind of experimentations which are going on for you know, conducting different research studies. But before we get into quantitative and the qualitative aspect, I think it is better to understand what are research methods and what is exactly a research methodology, because till now we have understood what is research, its characteristics we have understood. We have also understood, you know, what is the motivation behind doing a research, what is the qualities of doing a good research, then what is the objective of doing a research, what are the types of research which are there. But what exactly are the methods and methodology for doing a research is an equally important point to be discussed. Usually we have seen that many a times methods and techniques, they are used synonymously by different people, but definitely there's a small difference between what are methods, what are techniques, and ultimately they are you know, building the methodology, right, of doing research in a very scientific manner. So methods are actually employed by the researcher when they are performing their research operations. So the kind of behavior they are using, the kind of instruments they are using in selecting and constructing the research technique are the methods, right? So research technique, if we see, basically they are part of the research methods. So for example, if I'm using a magnetic compass, if I'm using maybe a you know, I like plane table survey. So there are different, you know, these are the techniques, methods which we use while we are doing the geographical investigations. So all these will be my methods of doing research, right? When I go to techniques, then the behavior and instrument which are used in performing research operations, such as we are making observations, so that is part of our behavior. We are recording the data, okay? So all these will be part of your techniques. So over there we are selecting the research techniques, right? And here we are actually performing the research operations, and the instrument which are used in performing these research operations will be your research techniques. Methodology is when we are doing our research in a scientific manner, in a systematic framework, and they basically focus on the kind of methods we'll be employing, but not only methods will be employing, but also the logic behind a particular method in context of a research study. For example, if I'm doing research on a person, then definitely, and I'm from psychology background, then definitely, you know, my methods and logic behind using that method would be very different as compared to if I'm a geographer and I want to study human beings. You know, the focus of both the people would be very different. The kind of methods they will be employed will be very different, because both of them will be having a very different logic. So this geographer cannot have a similar logic like a psychologist. So psychologist would be looking at different aspects and the geographer would be looking at different aspects. So overall research methodology is explaining that why a particular method and technique is more useful as compared to the others, so that we can evaluate the results appropriately, and not only we, anybody who is referring to our study can evaluate the results appropriately. So this is what is research methods, research techniques, and research methodology. Now the common approach which is used I have already mentioned, that is quantitative versus qualitative. Now quantitative, we know something which is based on measurement of a quantity or amount. We can express it in quantity like units. Here we are gathering the data with the aim of testing a hypothesis, and the data hypothesis, we all know it is basically an assumption on which our research is based, and we are gathering the data in order to test our hypothesis whether assumption is right or wrong. The data generated are numerical, and if they are not numerical, definitely we can transform into some usable statistics. So suppose even if you're working on attitudes, we are working on opinions of people, behaviors of people, like we do perception study, okay? But our aim is to generalize results from a sample to a larger known population. Quantitative data collection methods have been seen, they are more structured and systematic as compared to the qualitative data collection. And since we can quantify them, therefore definitely the small sample size would also be larger. In case of qualitative, it is primarily an exploratory research. You are making observations, right? And you are studying the phenomena which is related to quality and kind. For example, you want to understand the beauty of a person, you understand the beauty of a place, you want to understand that why, as I've already mentioned, why a person is behaving in a particular manner. So we are studying the phenomena relating to their qualities and the kind. Now it basically this type of research is used and focused on when we try to identify the underlying relationship between the desires and the motives involved, right? It is highly important, therefore, since we are understanding the underlying desires and motive, therefore it is very important to use qualitative research methods whenever we are studying or doing a research study in behavioral sciences, because here we have to identify the underlying nature or human behavior. Then it is also used especially when we want to conduct study on understanding thoughts of people, opinions of people, and problems of a group or problems of individual, right? But it is more unstructured and semi-structured as compared to the quantitative research. And as I've already been mentioned, because we cannot quantify, therefore a sample size would be typically smaller than the quantitative research. Now after this brief, we can see that what we are using for geographic investigation. Now for geographic investigations, again, both qualitative and quantitative data is used, because at many places we have to measure the quantity, and at different places we have to understand the behavior and perceptions of people, especially when we are studying things like vulnerability in terms of when we go for disaster studies, or when we are understanding, maybe we are trying to understand the crime data. So why, what is the motive behind that? So definitely we use both qualitative and quantitative data for our study. Now quantitative methods are more commonly used in our study. We go for surveys and we go to the field, we do different kind of experiments. And like suppose when we go for studies of water quality, then we tend to collect samples in the field, we get them tested in the laboratory, and then analyze the result in order to prove accuracy of our results and to come to some concrete solutions. And similarly, qualitative data, we composed of more of focus groups, individual interviews, and ethnographic fieldwork. So when we go to the field and suppose we want to understand the vulnerability in a particular area for people, so we we go to the people, we speak to them, we take individual interviews, we take interviews of the authorities over there, and we do massive field work in order to collect our qualitative data. So geographic investigations, we have a tremendous amount of scope to use both qualitative and the quantitative method. But what are the steps in which the geographic investigations is done? Though it is very similar with the other discipline, but here again our first major step is to collect and acquire geographic information. So how do we do it? We go for surveys, we do field studies, we do interviews and other data collection surveys, we make schedules, etc., etc. Then after the data has been collected and acquired and we have sufficient amount of geographic information with us, then we tend to organize and summarize it. And while organizing and summarizing, we also tend to display it in our study. So we prepare different kind of maps, we collect numerous amount of photographs to prove a point, then we summarize the data into tables and graphs in order to present our statistics, and in this form also it is this form only it is displayed. And finally, once we have collected our data, we have organized our data, we are ready to display, then we tend to analyze and interpret that data. So how we are analyzing it, we try to understand the patterns, we make trend analysis, we measure the frequency, then we make historical comparisons that over the time what are the changes which have taken place, then we make projections, we do comparisons and contrast, maybe over the time also. Then for example, when we are doing surveys in the mountainous areas, and contrast between the downstream and the upstream areas. So ultimately we can have various methods to analyze and interpret our data. So these are the major steps in geographic research investigations.